Hi, I'd like to take just a moment to talk about the Edgewood EDD philosophy. First of all, we believe in supporting our students through the dissertation process. We believe in the rigor of the work and the rigor of the research and writing. We also believe in the significance of the work our students do, that it is important to education. We have a structure that we use and follow, which includes the template and the proposal and dissertation defenses. And we believe that the best kind of feedback enhances the dignity of the researcher. And that is what we strive to do, is to combine all of those elements in supporting the best work from our students. Now, how to enhance the dignity of researchers is a difficult question. But some of the things that help us get to that idea is to know that critical thinking and writing are linked. So when the writing is confused, oftentimes so is the writer. And the more that the dissertators dig in and write and revise, the better and clearer their thinking generally becomes. Questions that develop the writer's thoughts and dignity do these things. They focus on the higher order ideas rather than the minutiae. They ask about connections between or among ideas. And those questions or comments also ask for clarity. They ask about structure, and they ask about the development of ideas. We believe that the criticism and feedback that students get should be mitigated. And so that feedback should contain areas of strengths for the student, areas of weaknesses, or a summary of limited problems. And then finally, actions, needs, or suggestions for improvement. So when you're giving feedback to students, it should contain those three elements. Feedback, on the other hand, should avoid pointing out every error or fixing every error, and certainly should avoid sarcasm, rudeness, or unnecessarily harsh comments. So our advisors are encouraged to use a hierarchy when they're giving feedback. First of all, start with the ideas. Start with the ideas that the student has presented and is thinking about. Ask them and ask yourself, are those ideas clear? Are they developed? Are they coherent? And are they unified? Those are the big questions, and really if you can focus on those, some of the other more minor problems tend to disappear. You can, after you ask those big idea questions, then you can move on to grammar and style. You can look for a sentence correctness. You can look for things that are wordy or choppy, or if there's a lack of connection among or between sentences. And then your personal pet peeve in writing, for example, using this as a pronoun. And then APA style. So you want to really, again, focus in and hone in on those big ideas and then move to the other grammar and style questions. I'd like to take just a second to show you what I mean. And here I have someone's paper, and I want to show you what ideas I focused on. If you look at this middle paragraph right here, you'll see that the student talks about a number of things, and I'll give you a second just to read that. Now, at first glance, it certainly seems like it's just got a lot of good facts in there. But when you dig into it, you'll see that she talks about a number of different things here. She's talking about retention. She's talking about income issues, graduation age, vulnerable students, external factors, all sorts of things. So what I'd like the student to do is really find one thing that they want to prove. Is it about age? Is it about income? What is it? Pick one and then prove that throughout the paragraph. Another thing that this student had issues with throughout the paper was connecting paragraphs. She had lots of ideas, but they were kind of webbed together. And so really what she needed to do was separate those ideas so they're unified paragraphs, and then add connections between them. So I just asked her simply the question, what is the connection between these two paragraphs? And then as we discussed it later, she was able to think about the connections between paragraphs and add that in there in terms of using her topic sentences to do that, and the transition sentences to do that, which I noted down here as well. And you'll notice that I didn't look at citations. I didn't look at the extra parentheses, or the only real minor thing I pointed out was a neither nor issue. And I just did a track change to make that change, and then pointed out briefly why that is. And so I just kind of wanted to show you how to use those comment bubbles for your comments. And then where it might be appropriate to use track changes, go ahead and use that track changes up here. A good thing to know is that grammatical and stylistic errors tend to increase with the complexity of the idea, and errors decrease with multiple drafts. So if we know that, here's a really good way for dealing with some of those grammatical and stylistic errors that really need to get out of the way to let the meaning sort of shine through. Here's one way. You could place a check in the margin to indicate that there's an error and let the student find it. Now you are assuming at this point that the student knows what that error is, so keep that in mind. You might line edit one or two paragraphs and explain what you're doing or why you're doing it, and then ask the student to do the remainder. You might fix the first few errors and then highlight but don't fix the next few, and then ask the student to find and fix the remainder of those errors. So what we want to do really is put the maximum responsibility on the student. And finally, what you can do also is point out characteristic errors and then have the student fix those errors.